Robert Frost was born in San Francisco, California. He later moved to Lawrence, Massachusetts. He was one of the greatest American poets of the 20th century. From 1912 to 1915, he lived in England, devoting his time fully to writing. He also taught for many years in Massachusetts and Vermont. His poems are notable for the realistic depiction of the rural life of New England. They are chiefly concerned with the complexities of life, human tragedies, and fears. Some of his best-known collection of poems include North of Boston, New Hampshire, West Running Brook, and Mountain Interval. He was conferred with the Pulitzer Prize 4 times and was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature 31 times. He also received the title Poet Laureate of Vermont in 1961 and the Congressional Gold Medal in 1962. The poem A Roadside Stand is from his collection of poems A Further Range. In this poem, the poet presents the life of a poor farmer and owner of a roadside stand and describes his feelings of distress with the deepest sympathy. Through his portrayal, the poem depicts the plight of the poor and deprived people of the village. Here is a summary of the poem A Roadside Stand by Robert Frost. Frost talks about a little roadside stand by the country road. It's an extension of a little old house with a new shed. It stands at the edge of the road, hoping not for bread, but for a little money. The stand, symbolic of the plight of the poor, needs the money that goes to making the city richer and better. The people from the city usually pass by this stand without stopping. If they do stop, then it is to complain about the paint or the signs. They're also unimpressed by the wild berries or the golden squash or the charming country scene. Angry at their reactions, Frost tells them to walk away if they cannot spend some money here. Because that's what the people in the roadside stand need, some money from the city. It might help them lead a better life, just like the movies promised. Frost believes it's the political party in power that is stopping them from having a better life. The political party has relocated the poor from the city with empty promises of benefits. Frost feels disgusted by their intentions, where they feed on poor people's dreams rather than genuinely help them feel better. Now these people wait for a passing car. Frost is also scornful of the childish longing of the poor. The poor long and pray for at least one car to stop, if only to ask about prices. Some did stop, but only to turn or to buy gas. There is no hope in the country. Frost would be relieved to see them put out of their misery. And thinking that, he wants someone to come to him and make a similar offer. The major character in this poem is the poet who talks about the roadside stand. In this poem, the poet expresses his deepest sympathy and feelings of humanity for the poor and deprived people. He was sad for the poor farmer who only wanted some money. He was highly disappointed and annoyed to see the indifference of the city dwellers towards the poor farmer and owner of the roadside stand. He was smart enough to sense that the so-called benefactors decided to relocate the poor people to the villages near the marketplace and theaters for their own greedy intentions. He was so enraged at the selfish attitude of the people in power and frustrated to see the miserable condition of the deprived people of the village that he thought death was the only solution. Now let us examine the poem closely. The poem is set against the backdrop of rural life. The entire poem revolves around the roadside stand located at the edge of a highway outside the farmer's little house. The poem highlights the plight of the poor. Although the poor farmer and owner of the roadside stand waited for the passers-by to stop and buy something from his shop, none who passed by in their luxurious vehicles showed concern for the poor man. The poet also reveals how the political parties exploit the lives of the poor people. He remarks that these benefactors lured the poor with their empty promises. The poem comprises 5 stanzas. The general rhyme scheme of the poem is A-B, but it varies intermittently in the poem. The poet has personified the roadside stand by giving it the human quality of begging. He also personifies sadness in the poem by ascribing it a human trait, which is to hide in the shadows. The phrase polished traffic is an example of a transferred epithet. Here, it refers to the rich city folks who live a luxurious lifestyle. Another example of a transferred epithet in the poem is selfish cars. Here, it refers to the selfish nature of the owners of the luxury cars who drove past the roadside stand without taking notice of the store and its products. The phrase flower of cities symbolizes the city folk and their lifestyle. The phrase pitiful kin refers to the poor village folks. The phrases such as greedy good doers, beneficent beasts, and pathetically pled are alliterative. The poet has used imagery of countryside and animal imagery to appeal to the senses of the readers and makes them sensitive to the plight of the poor.